Hi, we're Jordan and Jim. 2 years ago, we left everything we owned and everyone we loved to move to Cornwall and fulfill our dreams. We bought a plot of land and for the last 2 years have been living on site whilst building our house. Follow our journey as we develop this adventure together, one vlog at a time. Hi! Happy Sunday! So I'm actually filming this introduction once I've had the adventure you're just about to see and I'm now home after it. But it only felt right that I come back inside the van and tell you all about it. I first started thinking that I might need an adventure about 2 weeks ago. It's the Easter holidays from school, so I had 2 weeks off of work ahead of me and not really sure what to do with it. The weather forecast was stunning, and it actually was stunning. It was sunny, and I just saw that what was going to happen was Jim was going to continue working and building, and I was just going to be sat in the caravan waiting until the evening until we can do something, and I didn't want to waste my 2 weeks off from work like that. So to make sure that didn't happen, I spent the first week of the holidays in preparation of packing up the van and heading off somewhere in Cornwall with Hagen. There was a few little bits I needed to do on the van. I needed to get some curtains and some different kitchen equipment so that Jim could still cook in the caravan for the week whilst I was away, things like that. And I had great fun planning and preparing for our little adventure. And then the 12th of April came. Finally, the government agreed to let us travel locally as long as we're in a self-contained sleeping space. So my van qualified. So finally it was time to set off. As this was my first full solo adventure in the van, I didn't want to do it completely on my own. So I reached out to my friend who had recently been made redundant to see if she wanted to join along the adventure too. She's got an amazing self-converted van. Even though we've been speaking for a year on Instagram, we hadn't actually met yet until we met in Truro, which was kind of bizarre and exciting and amazing all at once. But we hit it off right away and conversation didn't stop for the entire week. Hagen fell in love with Nicole straight away and I think the feeling was mutual.
There's a lot of colours, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colours, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colours, lost within a haze. Don't rely on others to get you through the maze. The dreams are not the same for me. Standing by the shore while you're cannot take this anymore. There are a lot of voices drowning in the sea. There's too many voices talking back at me. There are a lot of choices waiting to be made. Too many choices making me afraid. Dreams are not the same for me. Standing by the shore while you're standing by the shore while you're on the open sea. Cannot take this anymore. Not take this anymore. Cannot take this anymore.
Morning. We are sleeping in the van. The good views that way. We've been sleeping in the van this week. He's my little sleepy buddy, tucked in. And we've been travelling around further south into Cornwall, all sorts of places actually. We've been travelling loads, which is really cool. The idea was kind of to escape and slow down a little bit, but I don't feel like we've done that. We've been darting around all over the place, but that's okay. We've had great fun, and I've seen loads of places that I've never seen before, which is so fun, and we can go and explore those again and take Jim with me this time. I thought I'd show you my full day today because on the way down here we picked up something very exciting. I got in touch with the Cornwall paddleboard company, and we're working with them on this episode because we got our hands on 2 paddleboards, which is so exciting. So this week we're going to head to places that we can use them and test them out, which is so cool. So I've got 2 huge boxes in my van right now. My feet aren't able to stretch out because they're massive and they're at the back of the van. But it's going to be worth it, I'm sure. So today we're heading to Helford River. There's like a little beach there apparently, and Hagen can play whilst we paddle, and it just sounds idyllic. So we're going to head there. And I just hope that I can set it up, that I'm able to set it up. Steve, the owner, told me it was easy and that I should be able to do it, but he doesn't know me, so we'll see how that goes. For now I'm just enjoying sunrise, snuggling my little puppy.
I definitely learned a load of things while staying in the van this week. When living with a dog in such a tiny space, it can easily get chaotic and disorganised. So I started off every morning stowing away all of the items that we used the day before and just setting everything straight so I could start each day afresh. It's funny, you quickly get used to being in your pyjamas in the middle of the street. Lines become blurred between what is your home and what is your vehicle. And I really love the freedom of that this week. This week definitely showed me that with a little tweaks, this van could be absolutely perfect for adventuring. It's small enough for the small country lanes and the small car parks. It's really easy to navigate in this tiny van. But there are a few tweaks that I'd like to make as far as storage goes, just to make sure everything has its place for when we are driving. Because quite a few times poor Hagen got hit on the head with a flying object in the back of the van, which he wasn't best pleased about. Even though we didn't really have a plan for the whole week or even for the days, we naturally fell into some sort of routine or structure. Once I tidied the van and got dressed, I would take Hagen on a little wander to find our feet in our new surroundings. We'd come back, have breakfast, clean our teeth, and then set off on our adventure for that day.
Days without water along the sun-soaked road. We crossed over borders to get where we are, and it's all for you. It's all for you. It's all for you. It's all for you. I did it all for you. It's all for you. It's all for you. It's all for you.
By day 4, we'd fully settled and relaxed into this way of life. It was no longer a rush to try and fit as many places as possible in, or tick off every single sightseeing destination that we had on our lists. Instead, we had one activity, one destination for the day, and we just soaked it in. We sat and rested. We found our feet. When I first announced that I was doing this, I received a message from one of my followers, and it said, "Be where your feet are. Be where your feet are." And that's exactly it. That was why I needed this trip. I needed to get away from Wi-Fi, get away from my normal environment, just to be present and in the moment and grounded and be where my feet are. By day 4 on this adventure, I was truly living that.
I think we wore him out.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.
Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Oh, even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
We definitely both learned a lot on this trip. When first starting, we were excited about what we would see and where we would go. But actually, in the end, it didn't really matter where we were. We were happiest just sitting on the side of the road whilst the sun was setting, talking about stories and people and just life. And that's what made this trip. Not where, but who. On the last evening, Jim was really feeling left out, so drove the hour and a half to come and join us for dinner and stayed in the van for the last night. It was wonderful sharing our stories of adventures with him. It was funny though, after 5 days I felt fully at home on the road. I felt like inviting him into the van for that evening was like inviting him into my home. We had structures and routines and everything had a place and he didn't know about it. Him visiting us blurred the lines between what was and what is now, a transition back to reality. Even though we're now back to reality, I do want to bring a few things along that I learnt with me. I loved living the slower pace of life. In a small space, it gets chaotic if you move too fast. So you have to move in sequence. Everything has to be precise and purposeful, like a dance. Every time you open a cupboard, there's a chain reaction. Beds need to be pulled up. Items need to be pulled out of the way. You don't want to do that too many times, so you have to think methodically. Every time you open the cupboard, what do I need and when will I need it? It's difficult to do more than one task at a time. You have to kind of ebb and flow with your environment. And now I'm back in the caravan, another tiny space. Though it feels like a mansion after living in the van for 5 days. It's funny, isn't it, what we get used to? I wonder if I'll feel the same when our new house is built. I hope I take all these lessons with me when that day comes. I hope you enjoyed seeing little snippets of our adventure. It's definitely fueled me to want to do more solo trips. And I hope it's fueled your enthusiasm to get out into the wild and be where your feet are too. Happy Sunday. See you next week.
the monsters on